This course is presented to you free of charge by TTJ Tech Services of www.ttjtech.biz and by Stir It Up of www.stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U, not an I, so that's STURITUP.com. TTJ Tech Services and Stir It Up are pleased to offer this course to you, to the glory of God and to the benefit of all those who listen. All right. Well, praise God. Praise God. Thank you, Jesus. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to session number 13. Glad you could join us today. We sure do appreciate you coming and your continued support, whether you're joining us live or after the fact online. Once again, let's do our quick announcements and our housekeeping. Tomorrow, you don't want to miss the Tuesdays with TTJ session at the same time. Different link. You can get it from our website at ttjtech.biz. But you want to come to that Tuesday session because we're going to reveal tomorrow, just one day away now, the 2025 TTJ Holiday Gift Guide, as well as our discounts on TTJ services and our extended holiday hours for shopping and support. You really will be blessed and will enjoy the products that we have in our gift guide this year. We're very excited about that, and so we'll share it with you tomorrow. We will have regular class on Wednesday, and we will have the usual Saturday session. Trainer Cliff will run that class next Monday. And then next Tuesday, the 25th of this month, November, you're also going to want to join us for the special AI demo session. The AI session is going to be on Tuesday, the 25th, also in our Tuesdays with TTJ link. I have considered starting things a bit early tomorrow on the 18th, and I will be sending an email out for sure. But plan on coming a little bit early tomorrow, maybe even 1:30 Eastern time, 1:45, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I will try to be early because I have another meeting after our session tomorrow. So I want to make sure we have ample time for that gift guide reveal. So watch your email inbox. Make sure you're subscribed to our newsletter today. I'll let you know about that this evening. But plan on coming between 1:30 and 1:45 Eastern time tomorrow instead of the regular 2 p.m. And then, as I said, next week, special AI session on Tuesday. We will not have class next Wednesday, November the 26th, or Monday, December the 1st. Remember that. And then remember that all Tuesday sessions after that are class sessions. So we will have class 3 days a week until the end of the course, which is in December. That said, we are going to start today talking about notes and advanced typing. Now, when I talk about advanced typing, so far we've only shown you the very basics of typing, just how the keyboard is laid out. We've talked about the dictate button and, those types of things. We'll review that quickly. But there's so much more, and we really need to talk about editing. How do I edit once I've typed something? How do I check for mistakes and typos and other things? And so we're going to use the Notes app as our foundation for that. We're going to learn more about the Notes app on Wednesday. So our next experience lab is actually going to be next Monday instead of this Wednesday, because we need to do a couple of sessions to really get you where we need to on Notes. So we're going to get into this right away. Very packed agenda. And I am going to bring up the Notes app so that we can use that as the basis for our place to type. Getting the audio set here. And
select done button, done, speech off.
Okay, my iPhone is here.
Weather notes.
Opening Notes.
Folders back button.
And the first thing you hear is Folders back button. Now, just like with so many of these other apps that we've talked about, like Calendar and Reminders and so on, with Notes you can have multiple accounts. It is possible to use your Outlook or Google account, perhaps, these types of things, as notes accounts, we prefer iCloud. And the iCloud account is going to give you probably the best, well, not probably, it's going to give you the best results, sync across all your devices and so on. And some of the others may offer some of those features, but it's just going to be best to use iCloud. And so that's what I use. And of course, there's also an account called On My iPhone. If you were using an iPad, it would be called On My iPad. And a Mac, it's called On My Mac. And what this does, it allows you to create notes that do not sync with anything, that are just local to that particular device. I have that feature disabled from my settings. I don't even have that as an option because I don't want to do that. I always want my notes to sync across all my devices. So we're not going to mess with the accounts right now, other than just to tell you we recommend iCloud. But I do have to tell you that within your accounts, you can create folders. These are essentially notes folders that can hold multiple notes. And so I'll hit the back button at the upper left here just to show you
Folders, back button.
a little bit what that's like. If you look at the
New folder, button.
top of the screen now,
Double folders, heading, edit, new folder, button.
upper left,
Double tap to add a new folder.
you can create a new folder, and you can even have subfolders, meaning a folder within a folder. But let's swipe to the right.
Edit, button.
Of course, that's our edit button where we can multi-select. We've seen a little bit of that in other apps.
Folders, heading, heading.
Now,
heading, quick notes, 4 notes, button.
All right, we're going to skip over quick notes. That's really something that was originally created for the iPad, and then they've brought it to the other devices, and you can create quick notes with, for example, on the iPad with the Apple Pencil right from the lock screen with a certain gesture and so on. We're going to skip that.
Math notes, 1 note, button.
And math notes, I doubt we'll get into math notes today. We will on Wednesday, but we're going to skip that for now.
Call recordings, 4 notes.
Okay,
button.
call recordings. It is possible to record phone calls and FaceTime audio calls, and it allows the other person to basically, it tells them they're going to be recorded if they stay on the call. I believe we talked about that when we discussed the phone app. It's under the More button. You can find call recording. Well, when you record a call, it gets saved automatically to the call recordings folder here within the Notes app, and you have a transcript and you have the actual audio, which can be then exported, basically saved outside of the note to your Files app and so on as well. So that's another sort of pre-existing folder here. Now,
shared, 186 notes, button.
Shared is a sort of a smart folder that contains all of the notes that you've shared with other people or that others have shared with you collaboratively. We've talked a little bit about that before. We're going to definitely delve more deeply into it now because we're in an app that supports collaboration, but we talked about collaborative versus send a copy with regards to the reminders lists, if you recall that. And here, this is again, it's sort of a collection of all of the notes that are shared across any other folder that you may have. And again, that's both notes that you've shared and notes that have been shared with you. So we'll learn more about that in a little bit.
iCloud, button, heading, expanded.
Now you're actually...
Double tap to collapse,
and
actions
again,
available.
Notice that's expandable and collapsible, so if you don't want to see everything under iCloud, you can double tap to collapse that. We do want to see it because that's where we do everything in iCloud. So here are the folders now that are inside of the iCloud account.
All iCloud, 2087 notes, button.
And that's a way of seeing all of your notes across every folder within iCloud, in case you may not remember where you saved a particular note or something.
Notes, 783 notes, button.
Notes is the original folder that everybody gets, kind of like reminders. You get a plain list called reminders. Well, you get a list called notes. And, years ago, before you could create other folders, that's where I put everything. So that still probably has the vast majority, the biggest portion of my notes in it. I really should move those someday to other folders, but I haven't. Let's keep going.
2022 TTJ info shared by Clifton Miller Sr. 7 notes. Button.
Okay, that's a folder that we actually still use even though it says 2022. That's just a shared folder for notes.
Betty, shared with one other. Blah blah. Call of 40 questions. Devotionals. 740 notes. Button.
Okay, actually, I have a lot of them in there.
Actions.
That's my devotionals folder. And I can show you some other ones.
Faith School. 9 notes.
Here's our Faith School folder. If I scroll down a ways
Fun.
here, we can see that I
Preaching.
have
Science. Tech
a
3 on.
TTJ.
Tech 3. Titan. TTJ. 285 notes. 1 subfolder. Collapsed.
All right, that has a subfolder. That's my personal TTJ folder for the business. And then we have a team folder.
TTJ team. Shared with Clifton Miller Sr. and 3 others.
And
21
that
notes.
is our team folder when we make notes, for the whole team. So you get the idea. You can have a lot of different folders here, and they can be on any name you want, whatever, however you want to organize them. And if we keep going, we'll see that we also have tags.
Recent tags button.
Oh.
Recently deleted 4 notes.
Okay, so when you delete a note, it stays in there for, I think, 30 or 45 days or something like that.
Tags button. Heading expanded.
Here's our
Double tap to collapse. Actions available.
tags.
All tags button. Devotional button. TTJ button. Toolbar. Search. Search field. Dictate.
And of
New note
course,
button.
at the bottom of the screen, we have our search field. You might remember that search fields are at the bottom of the screen now in many apps. And you'll notice at the bottom right is a new note button.
New note button.
We're not.
Tap to compose.
So
New
here's
note.
the thing. We're not in a folder right now. So if you create a new note here, it's going to go into whatever your default folder is that you set in settings. So I prefer to go into a folder because when you're inside of a folder and you hit the new note button, then it's going to go in the folder that you're already in. That's where the note will be created, and then you don't have to try to move it later. So we will go into the TTJ folder and create a note for today. But I just want to say before we do that, these the tags have the hashtag in front of them, and you can create new tags. If we
New note button.
want to create a tag, all we do is we simply insert it into our note. We just literally put the hashtag and then which is like the number sign, and then put the name of the tag that we want, and that will either save it to an existing tag if there is one, or it will create it as a new tag. So it's very, very easy to do that, and then use that as a way of organizing notes across multiple folders. All right, so now let's go into the TTJ folder because that's where I'm going to create my note for today.
TTJ 285 notes, 1 subfolder. Collect TTJ selected. My notes list. Folders button. Heading expanded.
Now,
Double tap to collapse.
The
Actions of folders. Back button.
see, the upper left still has that back button, just like we've gotten so used to. Predictable patterns, right? Fundamentals. So we're inside of a folder. It happens to be called TTJ. And if we look to the right, swipe once,
Share button.
there's a share button.
Double tap to show folder sharing options.
So I can share this entire folder collaboratively if I choose to.
Folder actions button.
And then we have a folder.
Double tap to show the notes list action menu.
All right, let's look at that. Folder actions.
View as gallery. Share folder button. Add folder button. Move this folder button. Rename button. Select notes button. Sort by default. Date edited. Group by date. Default on button. View attachments button. Convert to smart folder. Dismiss context menu.
All right, there's a lot of options there, and I'm not going to talk about all of them right now, or maybe at all. Some of this you just need to read the user guide and try some of the stuff. But I will mention that there's another way to share the folder under there. You saw that. Same thing as the other share button. You saw the option to make a new folder. That is a subfolder then. That's going to be a folder within this folder. Rename was another one. Select notes. Again, that's your multi-select if you want to, select 5 or 6 different notes at a time to move or something like that. So all of these things and more are available from the folder actions button.
Folder actions button.
All right, so that's up there. And you saw the share button. We're going to go ahead right now and create a new note. We'll look at some of the other things in notes later. What we need to get to right now is the advanced typing, the advanced editing, things of that nature. So I'm going to go down to the bottom right of the screen here.
Toolbar, new note button.
And double tap.
New note. TT note. Text field is editing. Character mode. Insertion point at start. Actions available. Use the rotor to access misspelled words.
Now you got a lot of information there, and a lot of the features of notes we're going to look at on Wednesday. But for today, we're going to mainly focus on the typing and editing part. If we have time, we may get into other things, but we'll see. So the first note of the first line of your note, excuse me, by default is the title of the note. That becomes the name of the note, and if you can understand this right now, and I'm going to explain it in a little bit, the first line of text within a note is automatically formatted to look like a title by default. It's going to have a larger font. It's going to be bold. We will discuss how to do that and more details about that later. But just know that that is the case right now. So I'm just going to call this editing test. Now, this is a good chance for us to start talking about typing modes, which is the first thing that I want to talk about. We've talked about the basics of the keyboard. You know, there's a 1, 2, 3 button at the bottom, which VoiceOver calls numbers.
Numbers.
And once you
use the rotor to access missed numbers.
Once you tap on that or double tap it, now it becomes
letters.
Letters to bring you back to the alphabet keyboard. And above that, you have
symbols.
Symbols when you're on the numbers keyboard. So we've talked about that a little bit. We've talked about
letters.
Go back to letters there.
Numbers.
We've talked about dictate.
Return.
Which is at the very...
letters.
Okay.
Emoji. Dictate.
At the very bottom
Double
there.
Double tap to start dictation. Double tap with 2 fingers when finished.
So we've talked about that microphone icon. VoiceOver calls it dictate. You can also use the magic tap. We discussed that before. We discussed the globe symbol, which says emojis, that you actually have 2, sometimes one on the left and one on the right in some apps.
Emoji. Dictate. Return.
In this case, let's see.
Return.
Is that the case here?
Emoji. Dictate. Emoji.
Yep.
Dictate. Emoji.
Okay, it's
dictate.
just going back and forth, actually. This will toggle you to emojis, or if you have other language keyboards installed, it will allow you to choose between those as well. So these things we've already discussed. We need to get into more advanced typing and editing, and I'd like to begin by talking to you about typing modes. Now, by default, we are in what's known as standard typing mode. And what that means is that, and this is specific to VoiceOver users, by the way. Understand that if you are not a VoiceOver user, none of this typing mode stuff applies to you. A lot of the other things will, but the typing mode thing specifically is for VoiceOver users, and you'll see why in a moment. So when you are in standard typing mode.
Edit. Vertical headings. Can protect words.
Did I?
Misspelled
I don't know. I
edit.
took the...
misspelled edit. Vertical can protect word characters.
I think I took the typing mode out of my rotor because I don't change it very much. And for this demo, I really need typing mode. So I'm going to maybe use...
Note. Text field. VoiceOver settings. Heading.
I could use quick settings, which is the 2-finger quadruple tap, and I could...
Hardware typing feedback. Kept screen recognition. Send. Slot. Soft. Sound. Speech. Voice. Typing style. Direct touch typing. Button.
Okay.
Adjustable.
Yeah, and I can change that. So right now I'm in direct touch. Let me go back to the default.
Touch typing. Standard typing.
Okay. This is standard typing. And
note.
The way that it works is just like everything else works with VoiceOver, which is that you tap on something to bring focus to it, or you can swipe to it to bring focus to it, and then you double tap it to activate it. And you know that by now. That's a fundamental of VoiceOver, right? Well, the keyboard is no exception on screen. We have standard typing. That's the default. So when we're using our on-screen keyboard, if I want to type the words, what did I say? Editing test. I can find the letters on my keyboard. And this is great for beginners, new users, because you may not be sure, it's a QWERTY keyboard. You just may not know spatially where things are. And so if I want to, try to find the word editing, I find the E. I know it's in the top row here. Let's see.
Cap W.
Oh, that's not quite it. Let's swipe to the right one time.
Cap E.
There's the E. And
Echo.
now I can double tap to insert the E.
Cap E.
All right. Now I know that, D is below that because I know enough about the keyboard in my mind. So let's see how close I get.
F.
Oh, I'm on F. Well,
Foxtrot.
all right, let's just swipe to the left.
D.
And I can
Delta.
find the D and double tap.
D.
We're typing the word editing, if you remember. Now, once I get a little bit more comfortable with it, I can move a little more quickly, but I still have to tap to bring focus and then double tap to insert the letter. So I can go over here to I.
R.
Whoop, there's
Y.
T.
N. G. Space. Shift. Select Cap T. Cap W. T.
And I misspelled it, so I can go down to delete.
Delete.
And that's above the return, and I can double tap.
T. S. W. E.
Put an E.
D.
And then I can find.
S.
See
S.
how that works? You double everything you do.
T.
And now I have to go to the numbers keypad.
Numbers.
And I find the colon.
Colon.
And I press
return.
Double tap.
New line.
Double tap again.
New line.
Because I like 2 blank lines in between my sections there. All right, so you see how standard typing works. And the more you use it, you can definitely improve your speed at which you type. But you can see that it's never going to be as fast as typing with a hardware keyboard because you have to tap on every letter or swipe to it first and then double tap it in order to actually insert that letter. So what Apple did is they introduced additional typing modes to make it easier to type as you become more comfortable with the keyboard. So the default is standard typing. And this only affects the portion of the screen that has the on-screen keyboard, right? But standard typing, it's exactly the same as doing anything else with VoiceOver. The next mode or typing style that we have is touch typing. Now I'm going to set my settings here again.
Note, text field, voice, hardware typing feedback, send to H. System, voice, typing style, touch typing.
Okay, there it is. What I did, as I said, I used to have this in the rotor typing style, and then when I stopped changing it, which I'll get into in a little bit, I took it out of the rotor, because I don't like things in the rotor that I don't use. I like to have a small rotor, which Sarah pointed out, small may not be the best way to describe that, but a less bloated rotor, fewer options in the rotor, in other words. All right, we're on touch typing now, the second way. Now, what touch typing does is touch typing allows me to tap on a letter to hear what it is. If I'm on the wrong letter, I can keep my finger held down and I can move my finger all around on the on-screen software keyboard until I find the correct letter. And then I simply lift my finger and the letter gets inserted into the document. So now let's type this sentence, "Hello everyone. This is a test." So I'm going to put my finger where I think the H is.
Cap G.
Now, because I was wrong, what I can do is swipe to the right without lifting my finger.
Cap G, Cap H, Cap H.
Then I lifted it. All right, did you hear that? It said Cap H twice, because as soon as I knew I was on the correct letter, I just lifted my finger up, and now it inserted the H. I didn't have to double tap. Let's do the same with the E.
E.
Then I see it. I tapped it. I was on the correct letter. I lift my finger, and it inserted it. Let's go to the L.
O.
Okay, we typed Hello. Now, I want to use I'll do the space. Let's do it again.
Space.
As soon as you know you're on the right letter, you can just lift your finger. If you're on the wrong letter, simply move your finger while it's held down and try to find the correct letter. All right, we're going to type everyone now, same way.
And
now, what I did, let me go to more.
No.
or numbers rather.
Everyone.
Okay, what I did there is I started doing it much more quickly and not waiting for it to say the name of the letter that I was on. I just lifted my finger right away, and you heard a couple of things happen. As I started typing EV, it said Rye1 or something like that. What it's doing is it's reading its prediction of what I think I want to type, and I can actually stop right there and just put a space or a punctuation symbol like comma, and it would have inserted the rest of the word everyone. And I do use that. A lot of people don't like autocorrect, but I'm telling you, if you get used to it and know how to use it properly, it can be a big benefit. And that's really not autocorrect, it's quick type if we're being technical, but they're all kind of cut from the same cloth. And that is a feature that I actually really like, but I this time didn't use it because I wanted to explain it to you before I used it, and I also wanted to show you more of just me typing with touch typing so you could hear what that sounds like. Now, I think I made one mistake. I think I did an M instead of an N, but you heard that little bubble sound. It auto-corrected. Sometimes the bubble means autocorrect. Sometimes it's typing suggestions. But in this case, it did autocorrect, so I didn't have to, stop everything and go back and fix it. That's another reason I like autocorrect, because, sometimes you do make mistakes when you type maybe, and that way typically are going to find that they're corrected successfully. So we just did hello everyone in touch typing mode. And you can see already that that is definitely quicker than standard typing. But touch typing is still what I consider to be an intermediate step as you're getting more comfortable. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But the final mode is known as direct touch typing. Now, this is the one that I use all the time. Anytime that a voiceover user hears the phrase direct touch, what does that indicate? That indicates that the portion of the screen that is in direct touch mode is going to behave as though voiceover is not even turned on. Now, you will still hear voiceover speech, but the gestures are standard, what I sometimes refer to as sighted gestures, and I don't know if that's necessarily politically correct. Hopefully I don't offend anybody, but in other words, if you were a sighted user, that's what you'd use. You would not use voiceover, so they're sighted gestures. That's why I say it that way. It's easier than having to say, non-voiceover, whatever, right? So the so-called sighted gestures, where you simply tap on the screen and it activates something, that's what happens in the direct touch mode. And the only part of the screen that is going to be in direct touch here is the on-screen keyboard. And so that affects a couple of things that I'll explain as we go through this. But for right now, just understand when you hear direct touch, it just means that part of the screen is going to behave like there's no voiceover. You're going to use standard gestures, and that includes just tap once and it instantly activates. That's how the keyboard will work when I put it into direct touch mode. Now, if you do make a mistake, if you realize it before you lift your finger, you can keep your finger held down for a second, and then it will sort of bypass the gesture and will not insert what you type. But you'd have to realize it quickly enough to keep your finger held down. Otherwise, you're going to have to go back and fix your mistake, or assume that autocorrect will fix it, and we'll see. So I'm going to go now to my quick settings one more time.
Note, voiceover settings, heading.
And,
done. Activities, off. Rows 21, system tool, voice, typing style, touch typing, but direct touch typing.
We're now in direct touch. Swipe out of that.
Note, return, comma.
I put a space here.
Space.
I just had to tap it, that's all. Now I'm going to type, this is a test. I don't know if I'll make any mistakes. Probably not, but maybe. And if I do, autocorrect hopefully will fix it. And we're going to try, this is a test. So I'm going to find the T first, just to confirm.
5.
See, now, I'm on numbers.
Letters.
Okay, there we go.
T.
Now, I know sort of where it is,
Tango.
but I just held my finger down for a second. We're going to type this.
This is a
test.
Period. Test.
Now you can see how quickly it's possible to type with direct touch. We'll do another sentence here. Put a couple of blank lines with the return.
New line.
And type that very famous sentence, which has every letter of the alphabet in it. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. I always like to use that one.
Capt J
because Brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Now, let's read everything. Where did I get? Oh, I put a comma instead of a period. All right.
Dog. A cat pie.
Let's read everything we've typed in here so far. And I have to swipe a few to the left because I see that I wonder if I can hide the toolbar for now. It doesn't look like there's a way to do that. Okay.
Done. Note. Text field is editing. Editing test. Hello everyone. This is a test. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
Okay. And there you have it. So what we did is we used direct touch typing, where as soon as you tap on a letter, it inserts it. Let me just do that more slowly. I think we're on a blank.
Period.
No, we're not. I got to put a couple blank lines here.
New line.
Let's just do it more slowly. Let's just let's type hi, and you'll see I'm going to type where I think the H is, and immediately lift my finger.
Cap H.
Okay, and same thing with the I.
I.
And then the period. I went to more numbers already, and now
period. Hi.
And return.
New line.
Okay, so this is by far the quickest way to type, but it is definitely something to work up to. Now, I have often said, and I'll say again, all the glory to God, I give him praise, and I do believe he's given me a talent for this stuff, a God-given gift, but I also think you can work to improve your typing speed and accuracy, and hone that skill, and refine that, and that's exactly what I did, because when I started out using the iPhone with VoiceOver, it was the very first version of the iPhone and version of the operating system that even had VoiceOver for the public. It was at that time called iPhone OS, not even iOS, and it was version 3. In 2009 with the iPhone 3GS, I started right at the beginning there, and there only was standard typing. There weren't other typing modes, so I had to use that. When touch typing came along, at first I tried it, and then I switched back to standard for a while. Eventually I moved on to touch typing. Well, somewhere along the way they introduced direct touch. And I really started using that first and foremost on the iPad, because the iPad, if you take our course in the spring, you'll learn all about this, praise God. But if you use an iPad in landscape mode, you actually have a full-sized keyboard to work with on the screen, okay? It's, the on-screen keyboard becomes a full-size keyboard where you can use proper home row configuration. For those who are typists and who have learned proper keyboarding and typing skills, you know what I'm talking about. You put your fingers on the home row. Well, you can do that exact thing on an iPad with a full-sized on-screen keyboard in landscape mode. And so I thought this is going to be a really good time to use this, direct touch typing mode, because I'll be able to type with the right fingers, proper fingering, and type a lot more quickly. So I began to type, and I began to practice. And I'd type a sentence that I wanted to type. And I might make a mistake or two. And I'd force myself to repeat the typing of that sentence 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and just keep doing it over and over until I typed it perfectly. And then I would go on and try to type something else, and I'd just do this over and over. And eventually, when I got fast enough to the point that VoiceOver wasn't even keeping up, then I would turn off VoiceOver and type on the screen and turn it back on and sort of see how I did, and sort of test myself to see how accurately I typed. And that allowed autocorrect to fix some of the mistakes, because I have autocorrect on. So, that's fine. But I was still doing this and practicing and refining that skill. And I still occasionally make mistakes, but most of the time autocorrect will fix them, or else I need to go back and fix them. That is still a lot quicker and a lot faster than using something like standard typing mode or even touch typing. And so when I did this, I did it first on the iPad. Then I began to do it on the iPhone, which is a whole different animal, because there is no full-size keyboard. You cannot use proper fingering. So what I do is I type with one finger on the iPhone. I don't use my thumbs and all that stuff. I just use my index finger, period. That's what I was doing when I typed those sentences a few minutes ago on the iPhone screen in portrait mode. I use one finger and I type that way. Um, and So that was a whole different thing to learn um, direct touch typing on the iPhone. We'll talk about some tips for that here in a little bit as well. But I did it, and then so what I did initially was I kept the typing style setting in the rotor for a while, and I used to switch back to touch typing, just regular touch typing, not direct touch, when I needed to enter passwords and so on. Well, I hardly enter passwords anymore because of the passwords app, formerly known as Keychain, and I also, even when I do, I now feel like I can either do it, or there is a way to use direct touch typing as almost a standard typing option. And what it is, do you remember that I said to you, if you hold your finger down for a second or two, it will not insert the character then? And so if you do that, then you can lift your finger and put it somewhere else and double tap to insert. So you can almost make it like standard typing. So for passcodes, sometimes I will do it that way. And, so if I'm not sure, let's see if I can give you an example here. We'll go into this note.
Return.
And I'll just type.
Use the rotor to access misspelled.
I'll type something. We'll just type a word or just a. We'll type. We typed hi before. Let's type hello this time. So if I'm not sure, instead of doing it like this,
Cap A L.
real quickly,
Space.
let's put hello in there.
Hello period.
Okay.
Hello period.
Instead of doing that, now let's pretend I'm not sure where those letters are, and it's got to be precise because it's a password. What I'll do is touch where I think the H is and hold my finger down for a second.
Cap H.
Now I lifted it.
Hotel.
Now if I tap way above the keyboard on the screen, I can't tap the keyboard section because that's direct touch. Everything I touch is going to get inserted. But if I touch the top of the screen where there's not a keyboard, I can double tap and it will insert that H.
Cap H.
Okay, and I can do the E.
E.
And again, touch up
Echo.
above the keyboard.
E.
And then L, L. I'm going to go ahead and do that one because I know where that is.
P.
Whoops. See, I didn't, so I go
P.
delete, delete, and now I'll try it again.
L.
Okay, I got that. So, and then up here,
O.
there's the O. We'll do
O.
the double tap. And again, if we do it normally,
Period. Hello. New line.
see. So that's what it's like. You can use delete, you can do all those things. But in a password situation, if you're not sure, it's that easy. Oops, I think I know where this is. And then, I typed the wrong letter. Well, you can do that a couple of times in a password field. But sometimes if you do that, 5 or 6 times, your account is locked for a day or something. So you want to be really precise. And so you can do it the other way without having to switch typing modes. And so because of all of that, I have removed the typing mode, typing style option from the rotor, and I just stay in direct touch typing. And if I'm really concerned about the precision of it, I can do it that way with, holding down for just a second and then double tapping somewhere else on the screen. But that is just a little overview of how you can use this. And I prefer direct touch typing because it definitely is the quickest way to type, even if you account for having to go back and fix errors and so forth. And that's the next thing we're going to talk about, is we're going to talk about editing. So let's write a couple of more sentences here. And let's see what we have.
Return new line.
Okay. I am doing a demonstration,
Space.
And I want to show you now. If I touch the I,
Cap I.
and I put a space.
Space. I.
Now, remember we started talking about the quick bar above the letters U, I, and O, or you can go to the left of the Q and swipe left. And I told you that last week because of reminders. That has a quick bar and a toolbar above the keyboard. Well, you're going to find that above the keyboard in the quick bar, oftentimes you'll have autocorrect or quick type suggestions. QuickType is like predictive text. So let's see what's up there right now. I just typed the word hi, and if we go up above the
Hope. Q. Hope. Have. M.
oh, I typed the word I, right?
Return
I
word
said
I.
not hi. I
Cap
typed
space.
I, and so you notice it suggests
Hope.
I hope,
Have.
I have,
M.
I am. And so if I want to use one of these, I just double tap it. So we're going to, again, I got to tap up above the keyboard. Make sure you do that because I'm in direct touch. So I'm going to put am. Now if I look at my,
Return spam.
it's
Space.
there, see? And I just used the rotor in character mode, but we'll get into that. I am, let's see what's up there now.
Not. Q. Interested. A.
Interested, not, and A. I'm not going to use any of those. I'm going to type I am doing a demonstration.
A.
So let's type
Return.
the D here,
D.
and let's type O,
O.
and let's see, type I.
I.
I'm sure.
N.
Now, I heard a little bubble there. Probably it has up above there.
Editing toolbar. Doings. Selected. Doing.
Notice doing is already selected. So I can press the space bar, and it will automatically insert the G.
Space. Doing.
Okay. A. Quick.
Space. Q. I. K. Space. Quick.
Demo, or we might say demonstration. Let's see if it tries to.
D. M. O. N. S.
I was hoping it would.
Ration.
There it is. You heard it say ration after the T. So I'm just going to press the space bar. It'll insert all of that.
Space. Demonstration.
Of how to type and edit.
O. F. Space. O. Space. O. Space.
Now it said O, but I did type a W there.
A. N. D. Space. Edit.
Edit with the on.
N.
I want a hyphen.
Hyphen. On.
Screen.
Space.
And
screen.
Keyboard.
K-Y.
Whoops, I missed that one. I accidentally. Okay.
Period. Keyboard.
Okay, 2 blank lines.
New line.
Now, we have, a decent amount of text in here to work with and to try some things, but I did want to show you how to do that. I also want to remind you of the period shortcut we talked about the last time. If you press space, in other words, 2 spaces, it will put a period and a space. You do that quickly. So just be aware that's a nice option as well. All right. So we need to look at some different aspects of editing. And the first thing I'm going to remind you is always remember when we're teaching this and talking about this stuff, always remember where your voiceover cursor is focused. There is a difference between, I've told you this before, and I demonstrated this in other ways, not related so much to the keyboard, but there is a difference between having the cursor focused on one of the letters of the keyboard, like the
Cap J,
the J, or return wherever, versus having the focus on the edit field itself.
Editing tool, move up, indent, out, bold, right hand, table, attachments, page, table, checklist, format, note, text field, is editing.
There's the edit field. That's different, okay? And any issues that you run into, people don't understand, people say, well, I double tapped with 2 fingers to start dictation, and instead it started my music playback. I need to report that to Apple. That's a bug. No, it's not. Your focus was in the wrong place. If your focus is not on the keyboard and you magic tap, it is going to do whatever else is the default, which is typically starting the music playback. You can actually turn that off in iOS 26, but that's not going to change the fact that it may or may not start dictation. It is going to do what the focus, if the focus is not on the keyboard, then it doesn't know that you intend to dictate, because what is it basing it on, right? So if your focus, and I didn't even think through this the other day. I accidentally did that, where I did the magic tap when I wasn't on the keyboard. I just forgot, and I started music playback. And I thought, oh, once I dictate, I'll stop dictation, and then I'll pause the music with the magic tap once I'm outside of the edit field. And I didn't even think the fact that I could have stopped the music immediately by touching outside of the keyboard. So, you just have to remember the focus really matters. And when we're talking about editing, it's a huge deal to know where the focus is. So that's the first thing I want to point out. The second thing I want to remind you is that when you're in an edit field, if your focus is on the edit field itself, repeatedly double tapping with one finger will
Screen
will
dimmed.
quickly toggle you, or not toggle you, but bring you
Note.
from the beginning of the edit field to the end of the edit field and back and forth. So right now, if I double tap once,
Insertion point at start.
it says insertion point at start. Again,
Insertion point at end.
again,
Insertion point at start.
you get the idea. Now, when it says insertion point, it is talking about now the system cursor, not the voiceover cursor. But in this case, they're going to be one and the same. They're going to match up. They're going to be in sync with each other. Let me put it that way. The voiceover cursor will go where the insertion point goes. In apps that are more robust editing apps than just Notes, and Notes is actually really robust nowadays, but if you were using a full-fledged word processing and page layout app like Apple Pages, which works fantastically with VoiceOver, but because there's a lot more stuff on the screen and you may have, documents that are 10, 12 pages, whatever, there may sometimes appear to be syncing issues between the voiceover cursor and the insertion point. And so you'll think you're at the beginning, but you'll find that you can't navigate or something. And there are ways around that when you are using the on-screen keyboard in an app like Pages. But since that's not the app we're teaching today, we're not going to focus on that right now. But just be aware that sometimes that will happen in more complex documents, but it's not usually an issue in Notes. Usually the insertion point and the voiceover cursor are going to stay in sync with each other, and so it's kind of easy to know where you are. So we know now, double tap in the edit field repeatedly to go beginning to end, end to beginning, what have you. Again, the focus has to be on the edit field, though. You can't just swipe to the edit field and the voiceover cursor is actually still focused on a letter of the keyboard or something, right? You have to do it this way. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is basic navigation through our note with the voiceover cursor and the insertion point, technically. And so we're going to do this using the rotor. And you already know about characters and words in the rotor, but I'm going to go over this a little bit in more detail. I'm at the beginning of this note. Let's turn my rotor to words.
Words.
All right. And I'm going to start swiping down.
Format.
Okay. Now, what happened? Well,
Format. Return.
The focus, I needed to tap on a letter of the keyboard to bring the focus somewhere else because I had it kind of jumped to the wrong place. So now I should still be in words. And now
editing. Editing.
The first word was editing. Remember we said editing test. Keep swiping.
Test colon. Hello, body. 17 point, not bold. System font regular.
All right, I'll get into that later, but it's very nice, praise God, that VoiceOver tells you when there are formatting changes. If I swipe back up.
Hello. Test colon.
And
editing.
Swipe down.
Editing. Test colon. Hello, body. 17 point, not bold. System font regular.
That's where the change is. So
hello.
If we go up here, let's go to characters.
Characters. New line. New line. 28 point, bold. System font regular.
That's where that's that title text I told you about. All right, let's go back to words.
Words.
And swipe down.
Hello, everyone, comma. This is a test period.
And we can swipe up with one finger to go backwards.
Test period. A is this.
Okay, so you see how that works. We could do it with characters. Turn the rotor to characters.
Characters.
Swipe down with one finger.
T-H-I-S.
Swipe up with one
Sierra.
finger.
S-I-H-T.
We can do it with lines.
Tango.
Excuse me there. We can do it with lines.
Words. Lines.
Swipe down with one finger.
This is a test.
Swipe up with one finger.
Hello, everyone. This is a test.
Right? So we can do lines, words, characters. Now, let's talk about what we are actually hearing when we swipe up or down with one finger. And I'm going to, in order to do this, go back to characters.
Words, characters.
All right. This is a little bit of something to get used to if you are a Windows user, because this is going to be a bit different than what you're used to. You can change this in your settings, but I recommend just getting used to it. So, you are always going to hear, VoiceOver is always going to speak the item, whether it's character or word or what have you, that the cursor is passing over. Let me say that again and then I'll explain it. VoiceOver is always going to speak the character or whatever that the cursor is passing over when you swipe up or down with one finger. Now, let me try to give you a practical example of this. Let's suppose, and I've used this example before, so our repeat students probably know what I'm going to say, but let's suppose that our TTJ team, Cliff and Sarah and I, the three of us are sitting in a row at a table. We're about to have a meal together, and we're sitting at one of those long tables, right? So all three of us are sitting at this table on the same side of the table. And so we have Cliff on the left, myself in the middle, and Sarah on the right. Because I got to sit between them to make sure I moderate, Now, so it's Cliff, Matt, Sarah. Now, somebody walks up to us, maybe the waitress, to take our order, what we want to eat and drink and what have you. And so as she walks along this line of the table, she'll start out at the very end, and Cliff will be to her right. She's standing right behind, but just to the left of Cliff, and so nobody is to the left of the waitress. But now she walks up, she's right behind Cliff, and she passes by Cliff. Now Cliff is on the left, Matt is on the right. If she walks again another person down, now Matt is on the left and Sarah is on the right. And if she walks one more time, now Sarah is on the left and nobody is on the right. Now try to get that in your mind, and now imagine how that translates to using the rotor to navigate by character. Because when you pass by a character, it's going to be that character that is spoken. But you might hear the same thing in either direction. Why? Well, if the waitress does like Voiceover does and says the name of the person she passes by, when she starts out, the first person she's going to pass by is Cliff. Well, she says Cliff because she's going to say whatever she passes by. But she says Cliff, but now she's standing between Cliff and Matt. But now she walks back to the left. What name is she going to say? She's going to say Cliff again because she's passing by Cliff again. Only it's just that now Cliff is on her right and nobody's on her left. So now she walks to the right again, and she still says Cliff even yet one more time because now she passed by Cliff again. He's on the left, Matt's on the right. Now she walks one more time to the right. Now she's going to say the name Matt because she passed by me, and now she's between Matt and Sarah. But if she walks back to the left again, she's going to say Matt a second time, even though now she's between Matt and Cliff, but she's going the opposite direction. She's always repeating the name of whomever she actually passes by at the time. So if you have that sort of idea in your mind, now let's do it with characters on the screen here.
Cap H.
Right now I am
Cap Hotel.
on the word. Let's just read what this line is.
Word lines. Hello everyone, this is a test.
Okay.
Or characters.
So you can remember that. Hello everyone, this is a test. I am positioned at the very, very beginning of this line, which means my insertion point and my voiceover cursor are just to the left of, just before, just prior to the letter H in the word hello. It says, hello everyone, this is a test. So I am as far to the left of this line as I can go, but if I swipe up, it's going to go to the previous line, of course. But let's swipe down to move to the next character. It's going to pass by the letter H in hello, and my cursor is then going to be in between the H and the E in the word hello. Let's listen.
Cap H. Cap Hotel.
Okay. If I swipe down again, it's going to read E.
E. Echo.
Again.
L. L. O.
Okay, we've just
Oscar.
read hello. Now, where is the cursor? It's between the O and the period. You understand? But it just read the letter O. But if I swipe back up, it's going to pass by O again, so it's going to read it again.
O.
See?
Oscar.
You swipe down,
O.
swipe up,
O.
same thing. But
Oscar.
the difference is now I've swiped up, so my cursor is between the letter L and the letter O in the word hello. And I might be able to get VoiceOver to tell me that.
Bottom of screen. Notes.
See, how can I do this?
Bottom of screen.
I think if I...
Note. Bottom of screen.
Okay, maybe...
Editing tool.
Maybe swipe over here and...
Strike under tab bold.
I think this will work.
Attach table. Checklet form. Note. Text field is editing. Editing test. Hello everyone, this is a test. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Hi. Hello. Hello. I am doing a quick demonstration of how to type and edit with the on-screen keyboard. Character mode. Insertion point between L and O at the 20th position.
Okay,
Actions available.
that's what I wanted to
Use
get
the
to,
rotor to notify
and I just got a
calendar.
notification.
Tomorrow, 3 p.m. Dismiss.
But that's okay. It was a calendar notification. But I think you
3
still
p.m.
were able to hear it say insertion point between L and O, and it even said at the whatever position. Now, some things will read a little differently, but this one is reading the whole note before it tells me that. But let me read it again so you can really focus on that. It said insertion point between L and O, and it even told me what position it was at. So let's listen to it again. Okay, here it comes.
Hello. I am doing a quick demonstration of how to type and edit with the on-screen keyboard. Character mode. Insertion point between L and O at the 20th position.
Okay.
Actions available. Use the rotor to access misspelled words.
Again, we always hear the letter that we pass over. So let's now turn the rotor to words.
Characters. Words.
Now we are in the middle, kind of the word hello. We're almost at the end of it. We're between the L and the O. So if I swipe down, it's probably going to read the rest of the word hello.
Oh.
Yeah, and now let's keep swiping down.
Everyone, comma. This is a test period.
Now, where is the cursor? The cursor is right after the word hello, and I guess it's right after the period also, actually, because it said test period. So if I turn the rotor to characters, and I swipe up one time,
period.
Yeah, now I'm between what was the word, test? So I'm right between the T and the period. So I'll swipe back down.
Period.
Now I'm right after the period, right in between the period and the space. Now, if I turn the rotor back to words again, we can swipe up with one finger.
Test period. A is this.
And because I've swiped up, my cursor is just before the letter T and the word this. And the same thing will work with lines, right?
Lines. This is a test.
Swipe down. There, that's a blank line. Swipe down.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
And because it just read that entire line, my cursor is after the G in the word dog. It might even be after the period. Let's go to characters.
More characters.
Swipe up.
Period.
Yep, it was. It was right after
period.
The period. So it read that whole line and put my cursor, my insertion point, at the very end of that line. I don't know how long to take on this because I don't want to, repeatedly hammer it if you already got it, but I also want to make sure you got it because this is critical. Any editing you're going to do is only going to work if you know properly where your voiceover cursor is. Otherwise, you're going to be fumbling around. You're going to be deleting the wrong things. You're going to be struggling because you don't remember. And so then you will end up taking way longer to edit because you're unsure of yourself. You really need to get this. And what I would encourage, I'll spend another couple of minutes on it and then I'll move on. But I'd encourage you to go back and listen to it repeatedly until you get it on the podcast. It's essential. All the editing in the world is going to go so much more smoothly for you if you master this. You've got to know where that voiceover cursor and therefore the insertion point are positioned whenever you're going to do any kind of editing. So now let's read this line again.
Words, lines. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
All right, let's go up one more time.
New line. Hello, everyone.
Twice.
This is a test.
All right. Now, what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to say hello. I'm going to change this a little. So I have, where are we at here?
Hello, everyone.
Okay, hello, everyone. This is a test. And I want to,
New line. Hello, everyone. This is a test. Body indentation.
Swipe up. We're at the beginning of it. I want to change this a little bit, and I want to say, hello, everyone, comma, how are you, question mark. This is a really awesome test. All right, so we're going to do some simple editing here where I'm going to add some things. And I'm going to take you step by step through how I would do that. So I'm at the end
hello, everyone.
Of that.
This is a test.
Okay, so the first thing I want to do is add how are you after the everyone. So I'm going to swipe up with one finger to go back to the beginning of this line because that's going to be the quickest path to get to where I want to go.
Hello, everyone. This is a test.
Now I'm going to turn my rotor to words.
Words.
And I'm going to swipe down.
Hello, everyone, comma.
Now I'm right after the comma. So I'm going to turn my rotor to characters.
Characters.
I'm going to verify that I really am right after the comma by swiping up one time,
comma,
and back down,
comma,
because I just like to do that to be sure. And I'm going to go ahead and put a space here and then type how are you.
Space. O double how. N-E. Space.
Actually, I'm going to say how are you doing
D-I-N-G.
today.
T-I-D-A-Y.
And I'm going to put a question mark.
Today. Question
Now,
mark.
there's already a space after that question mark because remember, I inserted another one, but there was one there before. So I did that on purpose so I wouldn't have to do it now. So I have my question mark. Now we have a space.
Space.
Okay.
Space.
Now I'm going to set the rotor to words again.
Words.
Because I want to say this is a really awesome test or something like that.
This is A.
Okay. I'm right after the letter A. And so I will insert another space.
Space. A.
And you hear it says A, and that was the letter that it's now I'm going to type a really
R-E-A-L-Y, really
awesome,
test
and I
period.
should have the space
Test
already
period.
there.
Awesome test period.
Yep, it's there. Let's read that line.
This is a really awesome test.
So
hello everyone. How are you doing today?
And then
this is a really awesome test.
Okay. So we just did some very simple editing where we added something in there. Now, let's suppose that I said, okay, I now want to, well, let me do another one sort of like that, but not talk through it so much this time and just do it so that you can get a feel for that. So the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So we're going to change that a little bit. We're going to say the quick let's say the quick red and brown fox jumps over the very lazy dog. All right, notice I'm not removing anything yet because we're going to get into that next. But let's just do what did I say? Red and brown, and then add the word very. So I'll go here.
The quick brown fox.
I'll go to the beginning of it now.
Words. The quick characters.
All right.
K space quick E.
And then
T-R,
I'm going to put R red. I think I actually touched the D.
D
and then there's a space there.
B word round fox jumps over the characters. Space D V Y spell.
All right, let's read that line now.
Word line. Very lazy. The quick red and brown fox jumps over the very lazy dog.
Okay, and it made it 2 lines there, and so that's fine. All right, so that's some basic editing when you want to add things. Now, what about if you want to take things away? Well, of course, there's your delete just above the return, and it's called delete. It functions like you Windows users would think of a backspace because it's going to delete the item that is to the left of the cursor, but we can delete individually, and in certain keyboard typing modes, we can hold down delete, like double tap and hold, and it'll just keep deleting rapidly. But there are more precise ways to do it, and one of the ways to do it is to select the text that you wish to delete or change. I'm actually not going to delete it. I'm going to maybe change it. So let's look at this sentence here, the quick red and brown. Let's suppose I want to put this back to what it was before. Now, I could try shake to undo because I just did this, but let's not go there. Let's just do this manually so you can learn. All right. I would encourage you very seriously to add text selection to your rotor if it's not already there. It is possible to select text without text selection in the rotor. You have to use 2 fingers on the screen and kind of pinch them together and spread them apart to either decrease or increase, respectively, what is selected. It's not very precise for those of us who cannot see. Sighted users can kind of do it. They sort of get these selection handles on screen too. But for us, there's got to be a better way, right? Well, there is. You just need to make sure you've added text selection to the rotor. And again, you have to make sure the focus is in the right place or you're not going to see it either. But let's... before you start using text selection, the key thing is first to have your voiceover cursor and your insertion point positioned just prior to whatever you want to select, just to the left of it. And so in my case, I want to, I'm going to take out red and that we just added in there, right? Because I know that the sentence really is the quick brown fox. So I'm going to take red and out of there. So I need to position my cursor before the word red.
Very lazy dog. Words. The over jump fox brown and red.
Okay, I'm just before the R. That's where I want to be. Now I'm going to turn my rotor until I hear text selection.
Lines. Text selection. Swipe right to expand selection. Swipe left to shrink selection.
And what you heard there is a very important hint. Swipe right to expand selection. Swipe left to shrink selection. But before we can swipe left or right, we need to choose what we're going to be selecting. How are we going to be selecting? By character, by word, or what? So when your rotor is set to text selection, you swipe up or down with one finger to change how you're selecting. Let's swipe down.
Word selection.
Notice it says word selection. If we swipe down again,
Line selection.
line selection.
Page selection.
Page selection. There's, I think, maybe one other choice or two. Swipe back up.
Line selection. Word selection. Character selection.
So you can do all these different ways. We want to do word because I want to get rid of two words.
Word selection.
And it's going to be red and. So swipe to the right.
Red. Selected.
One more time.
And. Selected.
Okay. And just pretend one more time.
Brown.
Oops.
Selected.
I didn't mean to select brown, so I need to swipe back to the left.
Brown. Unselected.
Now, that may have changed whether or not the space after the word and is selected, but that's okay. What I'm going to do
Bottom of screen.
is I'm going
Notes.
to go ahead and do this delete here,
Delete.
and it's going to delete what I've selected.
Selection deleted.
Now,
Red
and I told you red and. Now let's check my character
words.
and see.
Cat space K. Cat space B.
Okay, there is a space there already. So let's read the whole sentence now,
Word lines.
or the whole line.
The quick brown fox jumps over the very lazy.
Okay, so we still have a word in here that we don't want, and it's very. So this time, I'm going to just use words.
Words lazy.
And I'm going to go to the left of the... I'm right to the... my position right now is directly to the left of the L in lazy. So that's actually fine. I'm just going to delete by character. I'm not even going to bother selecting because it's just one word. So just do the delete.
Delete space Y-R-E-V.
All right, now it's going to be perfect.
Line. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
All right, so that's what selection looks like. And so when you want to select, again, you want to start out by positioning the, well, first of all, make sure text selection is in your rotor. But you want to start out by positioning the voiceover cursor just prior to the very first character you wish to select. Then you're going to turn your rotor to text selection. You're going to swipe up or down with one finger to choose which type of selection. Is it going to be selecting by character, by word, by line, what have you. Once you're on the setting you want, swipe to the right to add to the selection or increase what is selected. If you select too much, you can swipe back to the left to decrease by that same value what is selected. And once something is selected, you have a few options. You can delete it. You can immediately start typing and it'll just replace what you typed. And then there's some other things we can do as well that I'm going to show you momentarily. So let's say that we type we want to change the word lazy for fun. We want to change it to crazy. So instead of deleting it, what we could do...
The quick brown fox jumps word. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy. Lazy.
All right, there we're right before it now.
Lines. Text selection.
Word.
Word selection.
Swipe to the right.
Lazy. Selected.
Now, I don't even have to delete it. I can just type and it'll replace. So here's my...
C.
Let's type.
C. Selection deleted.
Now, see what it did is it replaced everything with that I had selected with what I'm typing. I just typed crazy.
Dog.
And
new line.
So now let's...
Dog period text space.
Whoop.
Words. Crazy. The lines. The quick brown fox jumps over the crazy. Dog period.
Now, it's interesting that took 2 lines. I guess because the word crazy is a bit bigger than the word lazy. It's a bit longer. All right, so we have that option. Now, the other thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to undo that. And I think I can just shake my phone. And it's the last change I made, right? So...
Alert. Undo typing. Cancel. Undo. Button. Note. Editing test. Drag.
Let's see what it did.
Note. Drag. Word keyboard. Note. Drag.
Oh,
Editing
I know what
note,
happened here. I got
empty
to
line.
go back in the edit.
Insertion point at start of line.
Okay.
Characters. Or high period. Hello period. Hot dog. Lazy. The...
And it put it back to lazy.
The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
All right, praise God. So that's another little tidbit for you. Now, let's say I want to copy some of this text. Let's just let's copy the whole. I don't know. Let's get some of these extra because I did hi, hello a couple times after that. Let's get that out of there first.
Text select line.
So
Hi period. Hi period.
there's hi.
Text selection.
All right.
Line selection. Hi. Space selected space. I am doing a quick.
Okay.
I am doing a quick
We
demonstration
want that
of
in
how
there.
to. New line selection deleted.
I just replaced it with a
line words. New line period. Period. New cap hi.
Okay, that's fine. There's actually 3 lines there. Now let's do a copy and paste. So in order for us to do that, we're going to select some text again. Let's select the quick brown fox, and that's enough. We don't have to copy the whole thing.
Cap hi.
Go back up here.
Lines. New line. New line. This is a really awesome test. The quick brown
Okay, I swipe down and back up. I'm at the beginning of that line. Let's text select.
Text selection.
And let's just
swipe right to line selection. Word selection.
Select.
Quick select brown fox selected.
Now, without touching anywhere else on the screen, because you don't want to deselect what you've already selected. And if you touch somewhere else, it's possible you will, especially if you swipe up or down with one finger. You might, if you're in a place where the rotor is no longer on text selection, that's going to deselect things, right? So without doing that, we're going to turn the rotor.
Lines, words, characters, actions, activate.
Let's see what's under actions.
Add link. Drag selection. Activate.
All right,
Default.
so we can drag the selection. We can add a link. We'll learn about that probably on Wednesday. Let's turn the rotor to edit.
Edit.
Okay. Edit is just something that appears in the rotor when it is needed. You don't have to manually add it. Let's look at what's in edit. There's actually quite a lot in edit in the Notes app.
Cut. Paste. Delete. Look up. Share. Writing tools. Undo. Make checklist item. Set bold. Set italic. Set underline. Set striker. Increase indentation. Decrease indentation. Copy.
Lots of stuff. All right, so I'm going to say copy. I'm just going to double tap on that. But you heard look up, like you could look it up in the dictionary. You could share it. You could use the writing tools with Apple Intelligence. A lot of different things. But we're going to double tap on copy.
The quick brown fox copied.
Okay, and it said it was copied. Now I need to immediately deselect this. So I don't want to do. If I type right now, it's gonna take away what I have selected. So I'm gonna touch return.
Return.
And see if that'll automatically
use the rotor to access misspelled
put
words.
my rotor back to something other than text selection. I'll just swipe down.
The quick brown fox unselected.
Yeah, because now it has only the space there where the cursor is. So you see, it's not selected. So it definitely worked. And what we're gonna do is go to the end of this note.
Words, lines, jumps. New line. I am doing a quick demonstration of how to type and edit with the on-screen keyboard. Words, characters, new line.
All right, we're at the very end, and we want to paste. Now, on an iPad, and I think even on a phone in landscape mode, there might be a paste button on the screen. There's other ways I could do this. I could try to long press the edit field, but probably the easiest way for us in this particular case is, again, to use the rotor with the edit option. So,
dictate.
Nothing is selected now. My focus
use the rotor to access misspelled words.
Is on the return. I'll just turn the rotor until I hear edit. I'll go to the left. It'll be quicker.
Misspelled words. Edit.
And I'll swipe up or down until I hear paste.
Select. Scan. Text. Paste.
And I'll double tap. Notice the options, by the way, in the rotor are not as extensive because nothing's selected.
Delete. Select all. Writing tools. Undo. Make checklist. Set bold.
Now, there still are good many options in this app, but
set increase, decrease, and scan. Select.
Actually, there may not be. Well, yeah, select is different and select all because there's nothing selected. So we're just going to do paste.
Paste.
And double tap.
The quick brown fox. Paste.
Okay, so now if we read this whole note,
space,
we're going to see that it actually has the quick brown fox at the end there, which we added.
Attachment, table, format, note, text field, is editing, editing test. Hello everyone, how are you doing today? This is a really awesome test. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. I am doing a quick demonstration of how to type and edit with the on-screen keyboard. The quick brown fox, character mode.
See insertion. That? We just did that. So now... I'll go ahead and take...
Add link, activate, return, words.
I'm going to do one other thing before we
lines.
Go to Sarah. I want to show you how to fix spelling errors. Already you can see how to manually fix them, I think. But I want to sort of give you a more a global way to do this and how you identify misspelled words. We don't have any in here right now. I'm going to deliberately misspell some stuff. So we're going to use this second occurrence of the quick brown fox.
Text selection line. The quick brown fox. New line. New words. The
now,
body. Indentation.
Chances are if I type something like TEH for the instead of THE, it would autocorrect. But if I put some weird letters in here to get it so far off that it can't autocorrect, then it'll be a misspelling. So let's put
the cap T. Cap Tango.
What I do?
J.
Actually, because it's not, because it's in the middle of the word, it didn't bother to autocorrect. So now you can see.
Word TJ.
Okay, it should be saying that's misspelled too.
Cap J.
I don't know why it isn't.
THE space word misspelled.
Okay. Now.
Quick. Brown.
Let's add some words here.
N.
We'll put a few extra letters in there.
Word brown misspelled.
And let's go back up.
Brown editing tool.
And let's do
TTJ. Unshare more. Done. November's note. Text field. Insertion point at start. Cappy D.
Okay.
Word iting. Test colon. LO. Body. O.
Let's add
L.
an extra L.
Word hello. Misspelled.
Okay, so first of all, I have 3 misspellings, I think, in there. And you can hear that when you come across one as you're navigating with, for example, words in the rotor.
Hello, misspelled.
The voiceover is typically going to tell you when the word is misspelled.
Hello, misspelled.
For our sighted family and friends, it's going to have like a red underline. But I'm also going to show you how to do kind of a global spell check using the rotor. And so if you need to, you might need to add misspelled words to the rotor. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the document. And once I do, I'm going to set the rotor now to misspelled words.
Characters, actions, misspelled words.
Now,
swipe left or right to choose a replacement, then double tap to insert.
And it tells you how to do it. Swipe left or right to choose a replacement and double tap to insert. Well, before we can choose a replacement, we have to swipe to the first misspelling. When your rotor is set to misspelled words, you simply swipe up and down with one finger to jump between misspelled words. So let's swipe down to find the first one.
Hello, selected.
And you heard that it says selected. I want you to remember that. Let's swipe to the left and to the right to see if we can find the replacement.
Hello. Heal. Hello. Heal.
There's 2, heal and hello.
Hello.
We want hello. Double tap.
Hello. Unselected.
Okay, swipe down.
Awesome. Selected.
Okay, why is awesome? Oh, because I misspelled it. That's right. I just did that on purpose. Yeah, I forgot. I added an N or something. So let's swipe to the right. If you wanted to check, you could turn the rotor to characters. But let's just...
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Only one choice. Double tap.
Awesome.
And there was
unselected.
One more. Swipe down.
Selected.
All right, that's supposed to be the. Swipe left and right.
Tithe. Tithe. Tithe.
Okay. Now, notice that one is so badly misspelled that it doesn't know what I meant. The only thing it thinks I might have meant was tithe. But the word we actually wanted was the. So, because we don't have the selection we want, remember I said to you a moment ago, remember the fact that it says selected. This word is selected. When you move to a misspelling using the misspelled words rotor option, it also selects the word that it's trying to replace. And so if I think that maybe I could spell it correctly, all I have to do while I'm on it, while it's selected, is just have another go at it. So I can type in here.
Cap T.
And now I've replaced it.
Return.
And I can use the misspelling option, swipe up and down.
Brown. Selected.
Okay, brown was also misspelled. Let's go to the right.
Brownian. Brown B. Brownian. Brown
That's
B.
another one.
B.
Maybe I accidentally misspelled awesome and I didn't even remember.
Edit.
But let's check my...
Okay. F space N W.
I guess it's correct now.
Quick. Brown fox.
Okay, so now let's go back to misspelled words.
Characters. Misspelled words.
Swipe up and down,
left or right.
And you'll notice.
Faux. Selected.
Okay,
characters.
That was
F O F space F O X.
No, that was actually correct.
X-ray.
All right, so go back to the beginning now, because there should be none left
text
here.
Field is insertion point at start. Misspelled words. Swipe left or
as I swipe up and down, you can hear that sound indicating there's nothing there, no misspellings.
Actions.
All right,
Activate.
So now we have completed the demonstration of how to do a so-called spell check. and we know that there's an actions option in the rotor. That's only going to appear, by the way, let me just show you that.
Return misspelled characters.
Yeah, if your focus is on the on-screen keyboard,
Cap D.
like the
Delta.
I touch the letter D or the
Return.
there's no actions in the rotor. Watch.
Misspelled words. Edit. Vertical navigation. Headings. Containers. Screen recognition. Text. Select line. Words. Character. Misspelled words. Characters.
No actions. So if you need the actions option, you need to have the focus on the edit field itself, not on the keyboard. So simply go up here.
More. Done. November. Note. Text field is editing.
I don't have to double tap or anything because I already have double tapped. I'm already inside it. The keyboard's showing. It's just the focus wasn't in the right place. Now the focus is on the edit field, and you'll notice now
Characters. Actions.
there's
Activate.
there's an actions option in the rotor. And that's important when you want to add a link
Add link.
to your note,
Activate
because
default.
we'll learn about that probably on Wednesday, but you'll notice that that's only there when the edit field, when the focus of the voiceover cursor is on the edit field, not on the keyboard. So really important to, again, I go back to that, to remember this focus thing, so you don't wonder why something isn't there or why something is not behaving the way that you expect it to. Now, what I'd like to do, let me just, we're going to get Sarah unmuted here in a second, but I want you to, as I said, take all this into account, ask your questions here in a few minutes, go back and listen to it again. Wednesday, we're going to focus more on the other features of notes, but we may review some of this, and of course, next Monday we'll have an experience lab.
Thanks for joining today's session. Didn't get your question answered? Have an additional comment or feedback? Email us info@ttjtech.biz or info@stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U. That's STURITUP.com. Or check out our websites for additional resources. That's ttjtech.biz or stiritup.com. And remember, subscribe to the newsletter when you're there. That way, you don't miss out on any upcoming announcements or events. Thanks for joining us. God bless, and see you next time.